All right, so we're going to continue our discussion about epithelial tissue. And so I want to focus on the different types and where you can find them and what they do. So we've got several slides and they're all going to look the same. And you're going to have the name of the tissue, a description of what that looks like, what it does, and where they're found. And then also a picture. And so this is going to cover some lecture and lab material. All right, so for the lab, you're going to have a separate video as well for the lab. But you'll look at the picture, and so on your lab exam, you'll have pictures that are very similar, and you'll look at it and it'll say, name this tissue. So you'll say, okay, this looks like a single layer of flat cells. For the lecture part, you're going to focus on what's in the blue box. So the description of simple squamous, a simple or single layer of flattened cells, okay? And if you think about why would you need something that's really thin and one cell layer thick? Well, you want things to be able to move easily across that. So think about the lungs. You need to be able to breathe easily. You need gas exchange to be able to occur easily. So you want the ability to have diffusion to occur really easily. Also filtration. Maybe you want to be able to filter something, kind of like a coffee filter. So this is where you would expect to find this. And so think about, where do you have diffusion? Where do you have filtration? Well, you have that in your kidneys and in your lungs. So the lungs allow gas exchange. The kidneys allow filtration of the blood. So that's where you would find those. Simple cuboidal. The description is a single layer of square-shaped cells. Okay, here's your picture. This is from a kidney tubule. And remember, if you have a tube, then you're going to have a lumen inside that tube, a space. This is where the urine is flowing inside the kidney. And these are your square-shaped cells that are surrounding or forming that tube. So this is simple cuboidal. And these are important for secretion and absorption. And you're going to see these in the kidney tubules. You're going to see these in some of your glands, because glands are secretory. And you're going to see them in the ovary. Okay, so that's where you would expect to find simple cuboidal. Simple columnar. Again, description, tall, skinny cells, one layer. You see these wherever you need absorption, secretion of mucus and enzymes. So just think about, where would that occur? Where would you need secretion of mucus and enzymes? Sometimes these may have cilia on them. All right, so if it's non-ciliated, no cilia, that's going to be something like your digestive tract. You're going to need that to secrete mucus and enzymes in your digestive tract. The ciliated variety, you may see those in your bronchi or your uterine tubes. Okay, remember, cilia are the little hairs on the apical surface, and so they help to sweep things along. So when you breathe in to your lungs, you breathe in dust, and so those cilia help to sweep that dust back out so that you don't have your lungs full of dust. In your uterine tubes, those are also called your fallopian tubes, you need the uterine tubes to help sweep the egg along from where it's released in the ovary into the uterine tube, sweep that along into the uterus. Okay, so you'll have ciliated and non-ciliated type. So here's pseudo-stratified columnar epithelium, and pseudo means fake. Okay, so the description, this is fake layered. It's actually one layer of cells, but because the nuclei don't line up, it looks like there's multiple layers, but it's really just one, so it's fake layered. Some may secrete mucus. This is actually a goblet cell that makes mucus, and this is actually the cilia. So some may have cilia. So the function is to secrete particularly mucus, all right, and to propel that mucus and to sweep that mucus along. So think about the trachea. Okay, so again, you breathe in dust. You're going to have mucus producers that will secrete mucus to trap that dust, and then the cilia will help sweep that dust-laden mucus up and into your mouth. You can cough, clear your throat, and swallow that down. It helps you eliminate mucus or dust in your lungs. All right. You also have some non-ciliated type, and you're going to see those in the sperm-carrying ducts of the male. So whereas the female needs cilia to move the egg, the male does not need cilia to move the sperm. Okay, that's a different type of propulsion that moves the sperm. It does not require the cilia. So that's pseudo-stratified. Stratified squamous, so multiple layers of squish cells or flat cells. So you can see lots of layers of flat cells. This is for protection. It's going to protect underlying areas. Think about places that have a lot of friction or abrasion. Okay, so stratified squamous comes in two varieties. You have non-keratinized and keratinized. Keratin is basically a wax type substance, and we find that in our skin. It's kind of like waterproofs our skin. So you'll see keratinized stratified squamous in your skin. You'll see non-keratinized without the wax in the esophagus, the mouth, and the vagina. So imagine eating a sharp cracker. You need protection in your mouth and in your esophagus as that's moving down so it doesn't scrape away and destroy the underlying tissue. Intercourse produces a lot of friction, so you want to protect the vagina. So you have stratified squamous there as well. Transitional epithelia. This is a new one. If you see something and you just go, I can't count the layers, I can't figure out the shape, then it's probably transitional. It's just kind of resembles both squamous and stratified cuboidal. You really can't pick a shape. So if you can't figure out what it is, chances are it's transitional. And that random distribution of a kind of cell shapes and sizes allows it to be real stretchy. So you're going to see that in places that stretch, like the ureter, the urinary bladder, and the urethra. Okay, so those are your types of epithelium and an example of what they do and where you would expect to find that. So just think about this as your test question. You know, you'll have a list of epithelia, and it may say what's the function, the primary function of this type of tissue, and where would you expect to find it. All right, last but not least, remember, epithelia comes in two varieties. You have the covering and lining epithelia, and then you have your glandular epithelia. And glands are groups of cells that make and secrete some kind of aqueous or watery fluid. And so you have exocrine and endocrine glandular epithelia. Okay? You have way more endocrine glands than you do exocrine glands. All right, so what are the differences? Let's compare and contrast them. Let's talk about ducts. Exocrine glands have ducts. So this is an example. So your product, like saliva or mucus or whatever, is made in the gland, and then it's going to flow up and out a duct. Okay? An endocrine gland is going to make the product, and it's going to be released directly into the blood. Okay? So exocrine glands use ducts, and these secretions are going to be released onto a surface, like the skin or a body cavity, like inside the mouth. So saliva would be made inside these ducts and then go through a duct and then excreted or secreted into the oral cavity. So this is done for mucus, sweat, oil. Several different types of exocrine secretions are made by our bodies. Now the endocrine glands, they make the hormones. So endocrine glands make hormones that are then released directly into the blood, and the blood takes them to their target organ. So we've talked about a couple of endocrine organs. So just as a reminder, thyroid, pituitary, adrenal gland, pineal. These are some examples of our endocrine organs. So glandular epithelia can be exocrine or endocrine. The main difference, exocrine makes hormones that go directly into the blood without a duct. Okay, so that's going to be it for epithelial tissue, and I will see you later talking to you about connective tissue. Thank you.